Pack yourself a toothbrush, dear. Pack yourself a favorite blouse.
Hi guys, this is 𝐏𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐭𝐢𝐧𝐠 and today I'm going to give you some of my tips and tricks for painting with this amazing medium called watercolors. So let's begin. First of all, what are watercolors? Well, also known as aquarelle, the art of watercolor dates back thousands of years. Watercolor paints are made of pigment suspended in a water-soluble vehicle. Light reflects off the white of the paper and bounces off through the colors, creating luminosity that can be truly magical. Well, watercolor may be a tricky medium and a little bit too much unpredictable, but when handled correctly, it can be flexible, versatile, and certainly worth pursuing. Well, it's important to have a range of brushes. Your choices will depend on how large or how small you work. I personally recommend having 3 types of brushes. The first one is this calligraphy brush that the shape allows you to make thin and also wide strokes. The second type of brush that you need to have is this small one to make the details. This one, for example, is number 0, but it also can be from 1 to 4. Lastly, I also recommend having a flat brush like this. It can be very useful, and this one is number 16. Regarding the material, it is better to have synthetic hair and soft bristle brushes, as these have more flexibility and also better absorption than the natural hair ones. And also, the probability of the bristles to come off is lower. Well, paper totally matters. Your watercolors will always perform better on a paper with a grain size over 200, like this, and not like this. These are the regular drawing papers. And this is because it would prevent it from bending with humidity, and also the watercolor will have a better base and its color and texture will be prettiest. You will also require 2 containers of water, one for washing the brushes and the other with completely clean water to use with the paint. In addition, you're gonna need a mixing palette like this one, but clean. It can also be a ceramic flat plate, just pour on the paint and mix the colors. And last but not least, the watercolors, of course. And there are many formats out there, but today I'm going to talk to you just about my favorites and the ones I use the most. Starting with the most known and popular watercolors, the tablet ones. These are the ones that I started with, and I think that they are the cheaper ones, and also they are very handy and easy to use. Next, we have the watercolors in tubes. These are the ones I have, and this is a very used format also, especially by professionals, but we beginners can use them too. It takes a little bit more practice than the tablet ones, but it is not that difficult. You just have to get familiar with the technique. I also have these watercolor markers that usually use to make details, not so much for painting big spaces, as I don't want to waste them. But yeah, they're very pretty and they have a good saturation, the pigment is strong, and also they are easy to blend with water.
From the second time around, the only love I ever found.
It is essential to know that watercolors are designed to work in layers. You will always go from a soft layer to a more saturated one. For this, it's necessary to have a lot of patience, because the drying time between layers is crucial. If you want to paint with a solid and saturated color from the beginning, you can try with other paints like acrylic or gouache, but painting on layers is the magic of watercolors.
All those static codes in the radio bit. Strangers in this town.
Well, there is a huge difference between painting on a dry base and painting on a wet paper. And since watercolors is a water-based medium, you can manipulate the darkness and saturation of the pigment depending on how much water you add. The more water, the less color, and the less water you add, the more intense the color would be. Do not believe on those examples that comes with your watercolor, because the final result will always be different depending on your paper. For this, make a swatch that fades from opaque to transparent by playing with the balance of water and pigment. One very exceptional tool to have in your kit when working with watercolors is a paper towel, since this almost acts as an eraser for the paint. Laying down a wash of color and then lifting parts of it up is a great way to add layers of detail gradually. Paper towels are also very useful for correcting mistakes or redirecting the paint. A highly efficient way to bleed colors into one another is through the blooming watercolor technique. Add a good amount of water to the pigment in your brush and then apply it to the paper. When the stroke is still wet, add in another color with the same amount of water. You can manipulate the colors to where they need to be at this point. Well, I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and that after this you feel motivated enough to continue immersing yourself into the art of this wonderful and relaxing technique. Cheers!
The strangers in this town, they raise you up just to cut you down.